Hey guys, welcome to Rentcom's AV Tutorials. We're going to be going over Windows 8.1. This tutorial is designed for laptop or desktop machines with or without a touchscreen, but not so much for tablets. We're going to cover quite a bit, mostly some basic how-tos and tips, so this is a great place to start if you're new to this operating system, and we're going to get you comfortable with using it more efficiently. So let's get started. Right now I'm on the lock screen, so I'm going to have to sign into Windows, and I'll get off this screen by swiping up from the bottom if you're on a touch screen, or you can press nearly any key to get out of here, or left or right click on your mouse. So I'm going to press spacebar and sign into my account. Now you'll see by default I land on this page, and this is known as the start screen. So a lot of people don't really like this look. They're not used to it. They like going straight to their desktop. And if you prefer that, I'm going to show you how to change that setting in just a bit. But first, let's remove some unwanted tiles. So to do this, I'm going to right click or tap and hold on a tile. And you'll see here, I get that check mark in the upper right corner of it. That means it's selected, and you'll see down here some more options come up. So if I want to get rid of that, I simply go over to Unpin from Start, left click on that, and it's gone. So once a tile is selected, again I right clicked there, you can name these groups up here. So I'm just going to say most used here, left click there to get off of it. Along with that, I can select multiple tiles at once to get rid of them. I can get rid of, I'm going to do all those three right there. And then again, I just go to Unpin from Start. Now another feature they have when you go into here is the resize ability. So I go there and I could change that to a smaller tile, even a smaller tile from there. Okay, another way to change these group headings is you can swipe up from the bottom, or you can right click kind of on an open area on your start screen, and you'll see this customize button come up. So you click that, and again you see these headings kind of gray out, and you can change that. So once you get rid of some of your tiles, you might want to add ones that you actually use, and you do that by coming down to this apps view. So by moving my mouse around, you'll see this down arrow appear, and you left click on that to get to your apps view. Another way, if you're using a touch screen, you simply swipe up. Now just like how we removed a tile, I can select multiple ones and click pin to start. That's going to put it back on my start screen. You'll see here if I select multiple ones, I can pin them all at once. And you'll see they appeared over here. I think the one didn't appear because I already had it pinned to my start. So again, left click there, and it pins it to my start menu. Once you have your apps on your start screen that you want, you can move them around by clicking and dragging, and then releasing. You'll see the tiles kind of move over there. Or if you're using a touch screen, you push and hold, and then you can drag it over and release it there. Now notice when I grab this one and I kind of hold it in between two different groups, or I hold it all the way over here, you see that white bar appear. When I release that, that's going to create a new group for myself. So if I want to name that, again, you can swipe up and you'll see that customize button appear, or right click on an open area, customize, and I'll name that group there. And then I just click anywhere to get out of that. One final thing for adjusting your start screen layout is you can move entire groups. So to do this, we got to go into the semantic view, and you do that by hitting Control minus, and you'll see it zooms out here. If you're using a touch screen, you can pinch the screen together, and it does the same thing. From here you can click and drag groups to move them all at once. Move that over there. And once you're finished moving these around to however you like it, all you have to do is hit the Control plus or press enter and you go back to the start screen where you began. So if you're still not liking the look of the start screen and you want to go back to that desktop look that you're used to, we can do that. So you'll see here's my desktop tile, and I'm going to click on that. A quick tip about this start screen, I just hit my Windows key there to go back to the start screen. And this first tile in that upper left, whatever you have in there can be opened up by pressing enter when you're on the start screen. So I have my desktop here, and instead of clicking it, just a little shortcut, you just press enter and it opens that up. So if I had my Windows Store in the upper left, I press enter, it opens up my Windows Store. So I'm going to go to my desktop. Now go down to this taskbar here. This is known as a taskbar. Right click, go to properties, go under navigation, and you've got quite a few settings here, and this is where you're going to be able to change the default to open up to your desktop instead of that start screen if you'd like. Okay, so this first option here, I'm going to apply it. This is when I hover over on the upper right, you'll see these charms appear. This is known as the charm bar, and we're going to discuss this in a little bit too. Now, I've set mine off because when I have some programs running in here, I don't like it that the charms appear. When I try to exit out, I think it kind of gets in the way. But that's just a preference. This next one is for the upper left corner, my recent apps. I gotta apply that first. So there's my recent apps that pop up when I hover over there. This next one, if you don't use command prompt or PowerShell, just leave that unchecked. If you do, you can just read it and it's pretty straightforward what it's going to do for you. On the start screen options down here, this is what you want to check if when you log into your computer, you go straight to the desktop instead of the start screen. So check that box, click apply, and then every time you come back to your computer or you log in or power it on, you're going to go to your desktop. This next one is for just the background image. I got that logo here, you'll see it. It's the same on my start screen. Go back to the desktop. This next option is for multiple displays. If you have 2 or 3 displays and you press the logo, the Windows logo key, whatever display you're currently on, it's going to show the start screen on that and not across all the displays. This checkbox is for showing apps instead of the start screen. It's going to show you the app view of it. So I'm going to apply that. Now I can press my Windows key, or I can come over here and left click on my Windows key, and that takes me to the apps view instead of the start screen view. This is for when you're searching in the apps view, it'll search everywhere instead of just in your apps. And this final checkbox down here is for sorting the apps. When you're in apps view, it'll show desktop apps first. Okay, so if you're on your desktop and you're used to coming down here to your start menu and then finding all your programs there, Windows 8.1 is different in that you have to go back to your apps view. However, we can put shortcuts on our desktop or put them in our taskbar for apps we use most often. So I'm going to do this by going to my start screen. I can press the Windows logo key on my keyboard, or I could come over here in the bottom left and left click on that Windows logo there. So I'm going to go down to my apps view by moving my mouse around and clicking this arrow or swiping up if I have a touch screen. So now I want to choose the apps that I want on my desktop. Now you have to remember, in Windows 8.1 there are two different types of apps, which we're going to get into a little bit later. But first there's a desktop app, and then there's the new modern apps, they call them. So I want to be sure that I'm selecting a desktop app. Now I'm going to go over to this one here, Adobe Audition for example, and I'm going to right click on it, and you'll see these options that come up here. I can pin it to the taskbar, which is going to be the first way I'm going to show you how to get that app onto your desktop. So I click that. Now I'm going to go back to my desktop. I'm going to come up here, click on this, and you'll see Adobe Audition is on my taskbar. It's pinned right there. Now let's go back, hit the Windows key, go down to my apps. I'm going to pin Adobe Bridge to my taskbar. That, come back up, and you'll see Bridge appeared there now. If I want to get rid of those, I right click, unpin this program from taskbar, and it goes away. So this is useful for probably your most frequently used apps. I got a couple browsers. I got my File Explorer here. My computer, or it's called this PC now, that's there. The second way to get an app on your desktop is by creating a shortcut right on here instead of putting it on your taskbar. So to do that, I'm going to go back to my apps view. Let's do Addition. I'm going to go to Open File Location, and that'll open it in my desktop. I'll see it's right there. So I right click, hold it, drag it over here, release that right click. I'm going to go Create Shortcuts here. Now I got Adobe Audition on my desktop. So let's do that again. Go to my apps view. This time let's do this program. Open File Location. There it is. Right click and drag. Release that right mouse button. Create shortcuts here. And again, to get rid of it, this you just select it. You can right click and delete. It's just a shortcut. You're not getting rid of the actual app. Okay, so now that you have your start screen set up, your desktop set up with your apps and files that you use most often, let's talk about some general settings. I'm going to go back to my start screen, and say these apps and text is too small for you, you want to make it larger. We're going to do that by going over to our PC settings. So what we're going to do that is we're going to go to our charm bar first. Now, depending on how you have your computer set up, maybe you can put your mouse over here and hover, and you'll see the charm bar come up. Otherwise, if you got a touch screen, you swipe in from that right side, swipe left, and you'll see the charm bar appear there. And the keyboard shortcut for this is the Windows logo key and C. So I press that, and my charm bar comes up. I think it's really useful. I use that one all the time. So once we're here, let's go to Settings. Press Settings there. Now come down to Change PC Settings. Going to open that up. Now there's a lot of different things in here which you might want to go over, just kind of skim over. But for our sizing, we're going to click on PC and Devices, go to Display, and down here under More Options is the size. I'm going to click that larger. You'll see my screen change. If I hit the Windows key, I'm going to go back to my start screen, and you'll see the tiles are much bigger now. So again, to get over there, you got to go to your charms bar. I'm going to hit the Windows logo key and C. Go to Settings, Change PC Settings, and it remembered where I was, and I'm going to change that back to my default. While we're in here, let's look at the power and sleep options. This is for what you want your computer to do when it's on battery or when it's plugged in, for when it to sleep and whatnot. I have all mine set to never. Okay, so let's look at the search feature now. So if you remember back in Windows 7, they had on your start menu, when you clicked on that on the start menu here and you start typing something in, it would search all your files and folders for whatever you're looking for. So Windows 8.1 has that same feature. What I'm going to do here is go to my start screen and I simply just start typing whatever I want to start searching. So when I start typing, you'll see that search bar pop up and it shows my files over here. Along with that, it's showing Bing search results by default. So I don't really like seeing these. I mean, I don't really care what's on the web. I'm looking more for my files or folders. So to get rid of those Bing search results, we're going to go back to our PC settings. So instead of going to the charm bar and clicking on settings and change PC settings, let's do it from our search. Again, just when I'm here, back on the start screen, I just start typing in whatever I'm searching for. So I'm going to go PC settings. You'll see it populate there. And then these are those Bing search results, which I want to get rid of. So I go to PC settings, takes me back to where I was before. Going to go out of here, go search and apps. Click on that. And then these are those Bing search results. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to press the Windows key to go back to my start screen, start typing, and you'll see I don't get those Bing search results anymore. Okay, now let's get into the apps. First off, there are two types of apps like I told you before. The one you're familiar with, which is the desktop apps. Here's Internet Explorer. Open that up. Now I'm going to go back to the start screen. There are also the new modern apps, which is Internet Explorer here. Open that up, and you'll see that opens full screen and it kind of has a different look than the other one. Now this modern app doesn't have quite all the features that the desktop app will have. As you'll see, there's other settings in here that I can change. However, it does kind of have a nice look to it, kind of gets things out of the way and lets you really browse. But while we're in this modern app, in order to get out of it, you could press the Windows key to get you back to your start screen. Depending on your setting, you can hover over here and maybe your most recently used apps will come up. Or if you're on touchscreen, you swipe in and throw that back, and then again, here's your most recently used apps. So I'm going to left click it out here. If I go back to my start screen by pressing the Windows key, I didn't really close that app. Now that's fine, it's not going to slow your computer down at all, but I generally like closing things completely. So there's a couple ways to do that. You can take your mouse, hover over here, you see that hand appear, you click, hold that, bring it down, and release it. The other way with the touchscreen is very similar. You grab from the top, drag it down, and release it. Now I found it's kind of hit or miss, and I don't really like either of those options. What I prefer is the keyboard shortcut, which is Alt F4, and you'll see it close there. So I'm going to go back to this modern app. And now I want to show you how we can run multiple apps side by side. So just like before, if I go to my recently used apps, I'm going to do that by throwing that back because I have my setting off for that hover. But I can click, drag it out, and you'll see that divider bar appear. Now when I release that, now I'm running two apps side by side. Now depending on your resolution, you can get up to 3 on one screen here, and I can resize them, make this a little bigger. Okay, now I'm going to close these. I clicked over here, so I'm selected in there and Alt F4, close that, and for my Windows, go over here, my Internet Explorer rather, Alt F4. Sorry, Alt F4. Close that. And back to my desktop. Now, one thing to remember about this charm bar, which you can get again by swiping, hovering if you have the setting, or the Windows logo key in C. Remember that when you click on these settings, they're specific to whatever app you're in. So right now I'm on my desktop and you'll see these apps pop up. However, go back to my start screen, go to Internet Explorer, Windows logo key C to get my charms, and I go to settings now, and you'll see it's different. You'll see it's for Internet Explorer. So that's just a quick reminder to remember that if you go to your charm bar settings, they could be different depending on what app you're in. And I'll Alt F4 to close that out. Go back to my desktop. Okay, let's look at creating a tile for a web page that you frequently access. So maybe it's Pandora, or maybe it's just your company's website, whatever it is. So there's two ways to do that. First, let's show you how to do it in the modern app of Internet Explorer. Open up Internet Explorer. I'm going to go to rentcom.com here. So I want to come down to this star, which is favorites. Click on that. Now I go to pin. Click that pin button. I can rename it to whatever I want. rentcom.com. And then I click pin to start. Now I'm going to close out of this by pressing Alt F4. And you'll see there it is. So when I click that, it's going to launch the Internet Explorer modern app, and it's going to launch the Rentcom website. Okay, so let's look at the other way to do it if you want it to launch in your desktop app. So I'm on my desktop and I go to Internet Explorer. Let's see, I go rentcom.com. Now I come over here. I click on this gear for the settings. I go add site to apps. Click that. And I click add. And you'll see that open by itself. And if I get out of here, go down to my apps, and you will see rentcom.com is added to the apps. Sorry, that was the one I created in the modern Internet Explorer. Here's one I created for my desktop. I'm going to pin that to my start. There it is. Drag it over. When I launch this one, it opens Internet Explorer on my desktop. So I'm going to get rid of those. Right-clicking on both of them, unpin from start. Now let's go back to the desktop. So I'm going to close this video out with some Windows keyboard shortcuts, which I find incredibly useful. I use it all the time. It kind of speeds things up. Before I show you those, I want to go over how to turn off your computer. This was kind of a big issue with people because they weren't used to the start menu and they couldn't find where that is. There's a few ways to do it. So we can go to our charms, which is the shortcut Windows logo key and C. Go to settings, click on power, and here I can shut it down. Another way, when you're on your desktop, go to the Windows logo here, right click, and you'll see Shutdown. This is kind of like how previous versions of Windows were. Also, when you right click, you'll see some different options come up here. You can get to your task manager, control panel, and so on. While I'm talking about these, when you first get into Windows, you'll see that my computer is not natively there. Let's show you how to quickly set that up. So I'm going to go here, and with the search, I'm going to type in computer. You'll see it comes up. They call it this PC now. I'm going to click on that. It opens here. Now what I want to do is just click on here, right click, drag it over, and create shortcuts here. So you'll see now I got a shortcut that I can always access. You could pin it to your start, you could do whatever you want from here. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that because I already have one. Okay, so back to the shutdown. I like creating a tile for my shutdown because I kind of use my start screen often, so I'll just click on that to shut it down, and I do that by executing the shutdown command from my desktop. So go to your desktop, right click on an open area, go new, come up here to shortcut, left click on that. Now for the location of this, we're going to find the executable for shutting down your computer. C:\/ Windows System 32 /shutdown.exe. You'll see it pop up. You can click on that. It'll fill it for you. Then go space /P. Click next. What do you want to name it? Yeah, shutdown. Finish. Okay, now I'm going to take this and get it off my desktop because I don't really like it in the way there. So I'm going to go to my computer and I'm going to drop it in my documents. As you see, I already have one here, but just to show you, I'm going to right click and drag it over, move here, skip that. So once you drag it, it's going to be here. Mine didn't move because I already got one. But then I right click here and go down to pin to start. You left click that, and then you should see that appear as a tile on your start screen. I like using it because then I don't have to go into my charms bar and dig through the settings and all that. I think it's just easier if I'm on my start screen just to click shutdown. So that's really all I have to share today. I'll close this video with some useful keyboard shortcuts, which I highly suggest you learn. It'll save you a lot of time and frustration. This video is brought to you by Rentcom. Be sure to check out rentcom.com for all of your audio-visual needs, and contact us for your next AV event. Thank you for watching, and I hope this makes Windows 8.1 a little bit more comfortable for you to use.